Hi, it's Dave T here, and another update on the EFM back to work social distance functioning. So basically, those who've seen earlier videos, we've seen this screenshot here where we basically had these social distancing circles. The radius is set to 2 meter radius. Now we've just changed this, so one thing we notice that where we're looking at overlays laps here, this is overlapping on the social distance radius as opposed to the person. So this person sitting here isn't necessarily going to be affected by this. So we want to improve on that and add a number of other features as well. So what we've now done is on the same adjacency layer, we now show two circles. We're going to add in some of the automatic overlap detection functionality from the previous work, but we just haven't done that yet. But basically what we've done is we have the green circle in the middle, which represents the person, okay, and then the transparent red circle outside is representing the social distance area, so that basically no one should be coming inside this area when someone's sitting on this desk. Okay, so we've made that change, and that means that we can then look for where basically this social distance circle is overlapping the person. So here, for example, we have a potential issue because we have this desk here. The social distance, 2 meter distance, is there. And also the reason we added a circle here is because the person will move around. They're not going to sit in dead center. They'll slide from side to side and forwards and backwards and so on. So that's why we added that. But we didn't just stop there. We've added some additional functionality as well. So what I can do, let's just zoom in up here to show this a bit more clearly. There you go. Okay, so what we can do is for the locations, I can select those. This is standard functionality for editing locations in EFM. I can do a multi-edit. I'm going to go down to our social distancing tab. And you may remember from before we had a field for enclosed area which we added as part of the social distancing functionality. So what we can do is, at the moment that's an open, so that's literally just an open desk with nothing, kind of no constraints around it at all. So we have some options. So if we go for an open plan desk as opposed to just an open seat, if you like, okay, so we can select that, and this is now going to change all of those locations to be open desks for. And what it does is you'll see that the person's kind of area of movement is now curtailed, because obviously they couldn't go too far forward because they would hit the desk. So this is them sitting there, so they can rock their chair back, but they can't go into the desk, and therefore the 2 meter distance from, to put it bluntly, their nose and their mouth is now here in front of them, but around here they can kind of like sidle over on their chair over here, so therefore the social distancing boundary extends, so you get this shape here. And you see how that quite radically affects the other area that's available. Okay, so you wouldn't be able to use this desk here because of this person, but in other situations you might actually get away with this desk. So that gives a much clearer view of the shape of the social distance kind of exclusion zone around a person. But we didn't stop there, so if I now just go and edit those same locations again, and what I'll do is I'll just edit these ones, let's say just these ones over here, okay, just so you can see the difference. So select locations, multiple edit again, social distancing tab, and you notice another option we've added, and we can extend these to extra options as well, but the next option is front shield. So this is where a lot of desks will typically have some kind of screen in between them and the desk that's opposite them, and that may be adequate as it is, or it may be extended vertically and you add some additional shielding in there. So let's set these to front shield, and what it then does is the system recognizes that there is a barrier in front. This icon should have stayed, the green circle should have stayed like this. That's just a minor fault at the moment. We'll fix that in a second. Okay, so you can see how, because this is recognizing that there's actually a shield up here, then it realizes that the effect of the social distance is zone is much greater. Okay, so you can see how these ones are expanding out in front and this one's curtailed it. So you could potentially have two people opposite each other without infringing on each other's space. Okay, So that's a big change we've made in terms of the social distance adjacency monitoring. The other thing we've been busy on today is, let's turn that off just to keep it simple for a moment. So we showed some very early stuff on the route. So basically what we can now do is we can define routes as before. I'm just going to turn all three of these layers on. So the route traffic, that's showing the social distance around the route, but you can, as you see here, let me just zoom in again, you can actually set where the route line goes, and then you can say on the left or the right the width is different. So where these ones are going along kind of hugging the wall, then you can draw the route along the side of the wall and then say, well, the 2 meters extending out this way, but obviously it's not going that way, which causes more confusion. Okay, so that gives a clearer indication of where the actual routes are. And you can also, for any route, basically we've changed it so you define route points. So for this location here, if we edit this, we can tidy this form up a little bit more, but basically we can see that the initial number of staff going down this route are 12, but by the time they get to the end, because people are stopping at their desks, the general traffic in terms of getting to your desks is reduced. So that's why you can then see this kind of graduation of colour as it goes out to the end. Not a major difference on that one. This point here, however, if I actually turn on the route info, we can see it there. So this one, we've got 26 staff at the start of this that need to get down to this area of the floor, and it's staying at 26. Okay. Whereas over here, this one here, there's 16 staff kind of start on this path over here, but it reduces to 7 by the end. And obviously, if you don't want to use that, you just set the same number of staff at each end, but it gives you a way of setting routes and likely foot traffic, so you can map where problem zones will be. Okay. Now, in terms of adding those, you can add those through the standard add objects function, and you can either add them as you can add route nodes here, but it's basically social distance locations. So what you can do is we can add a location, and that could include things such as let's say over here we've got stairs. Okay, so basically we can then say, oh, we've got some stairs here, and we can add additional points. So things like WCs, hand sanitizers, perhaps you've got masks, storage for masks and so on, doors, lobby entrance points and so on. You can define those. I don't actually need to define much else on here, and save that. Okay, and that will then show up as a route node, but we have also added an additional, scroll right down here, layer for key locations. So you can see here, just turn these other ones off so you can see it more clearly. Okay, so you can indicate key locations, so things like lobby, WC, stairs and so on. So you can just drop those onto the floor plan again for planning. So the idea is you can do as much planning, quite complex planning, but through the web interface without having to rely on AutoCAD and other tools like that, which certain staff may not have access to. So hope that is useful and keeping you informed. Thanks for watching. Bye now.